नमस्ते, आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
हाँ बिल्कुल।
ठीक ठीक है। होप दैट एवरीबॉडी हैज ज्वाइंड।
हाँ जी।
सब लोग ने ज्वाइन कर दिए?
अ, बस आशा जी बाकी हैं।
ठीक है।
आशा जी आ गई क्या? नहीं ना।
नहीं, ठीक है ठीक है।
हाँ आशा जी भी आ गई हैं। बस वो 9 बजे प्रेयर के साथ फिर शुरू करते हैं अपन।
ठीक है ठीक है।
हाँ जस्ट 1 मिनट है। जी। ओ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So, namaste everybody, and once again, our pleasure to welcome Dr. Bhargav Bhide back into the group. और आज से हम आयुर्वेद का अध्ययन शुरू कर रहे हैं और साधना के लिए, योग साधना के लिए आयुर्वेद का बहुत महत्व है। और अपेक्षा है कि आयुर्वेद के ज्ञान से हमारी सबकी व्यक्तिगत साधना, इंडिविजुअल साधना में बढ़ोतरी रहेगी। राइट, सो भार्गव जी, ओवर टू यू।
Thank you, Sunil ji, for introducing me to all the people. Uh, Actually, yoga and Ayurveda is very interrelated, that we can say. And Charak Samhita has also mentioned about yoga, that yoge mokshe cha sarvasam vedananam avartanam mokshe nirvritti nishesha yogo moksha pravartakaha. So he has Acharya Charak has also mentioned regarding yoga and defined yoga in his own way. However, Acharya Charak and Acharya Sushrut have very elaboratively explained about Ayurveda in their texts, but we have chosen Ashtanga Hridaya as our basic text to be followed to understand Ayurveda, because Acharya Vagbhat has himself explained why he has written or told, rather than we can say written, we can say told, or uh, Ashtanga Hridaya. So he has mentioned in first 2 or 3 verses that why he needed to write Ashtanga Hridaya. So he has explained that I have you I have gone through the texts which are available to me, including Charak and Sushrut, and I have used the concise form of both the Sanhitas and included whatever is needed and whatever is useful in the present context, and that he has used in his Ashtanga Hridaya. Second most important thing is that apart from Charak Samhita and Sushruta Samhita, Vagbhat has included very new concepts in Ayurveda also. I will say new entities in Ayurveda which are not mentioned in Charak Samhita and Sushruta Samhita, and updated the Shastra according to that present knowledge at that time. And third thing is that the whole Ashtanga Hridaya is in um, poem form, prose form. It is not in the form of text and like a textbook. It is like a what you can say Bhagavad Gita, which is only in shlok form. The whole Ashtanga Hridaya is in shlok form, so it is very easy to recall also. So there are people who have by hearted whole Ashtanga Hridaya, and they do their treatment or chikitsa on the basis of the Ashtanga Hridaya only. So it is a concise and precise form of Ayurveda, and which is suitable to the present era. So we have chosen Ashtanga Hridaya for understanding and getting the concepts of Ayurveda. Uh, the outline of our classes will be like that. Ashtanga Hridaya has mentioned um, one very interesting slok is mentioned in Ayurveda Hitopadesh, which we used to say when we were in first year BMS. It is that शारीरे सुश्रुतः श्रेष्ठः निदाने माधव श्रेष्ठः सूत्रस्थाने तु वाग्भटः शारीरे सुश्रुतः श्रेष्ठः चरकस्तु चिकित्सिते. That means if you want to know regarding diagnosis of disease, you should follow Madhav Nidan. And if you want to um, explain the sutra, means in short form, you want to learn Ayurveda, then you should follow Ashtanga Hridaya. And for treatment purpose, you should follow internal medicine, you should follow Charak. And for Shalya Tantra and Shalya Tantra or Sharir Sthan means anatomy, you should follow Sushruta Samhita. So it is mentioned that for understanding the concise form of Ayurveda, one should learn Ashtanga Hridaya. So Sharire Sushruta Sreshtha, Nidane Madhava Sreshtha, Sutra Sthane tu Vagbhataha. So we have used Sutra Sthana of Vagbhat as our basic text to understand Ayurveda, which is very easy to understand in the form of that shlok. So in the first chapter, he has mentioned all the basic concepts. He has enumerated various concepts. He has not explained that in the first chapter. And after that, one by one, he has explained the what is mentioned in the first chapter of Sutrasthan. So Sutrasthan means it is as you all know, the sutra is very concise form and having a very uh, large or opinion subject in a very short span. So as he is his name itself is denotes that Vagbhata means Vachi Bhata. So he can say a very big or very vast amount of knowledge in a very short span or very short span of words. So he is Vachi Bhata. He is very um, in Vani, he is very precise and concise also. So he is very experienced in the form of Vani. So he has used very different kind of language to say or explain the Ayurveda. So in the first lecture we are just going through the topics which we will go through after lectures, and explanation of that concepts will be explained later on. So this will be our plan of our lectures or classes, and rather discussion, I can say. So, and wherever we need the references from other Samhitas, that provide, and not much are from other texts, but wherever needed or wherever it is necessary, I will provide what is required for the explanation of that particular topic. So we will start with the first stanza of Ashtanga Hriday. So actually, whenever a Samhita or a Grantha is starting, there is a tradition in our Sanskriti or in our Parampara that we should bow down to the Almighty or whoever the God we follow. So he has followed or bowed down to Apurva Vaidya. So first stanza is Ragadi Rogan Satatanushaktan Ashesha Kaya Prasrutan Ashesha. Page number 2, Mangalacharan. So it is the first slok of Ashtanga Hriday. We will not go in detail of that, but just to bow down to the Almighty, he has written Ragadirogan Satatanushaktan Ashesha Kaya Prasrutan Sheshan Autsukya Moha Ratidan Jaghana Yopuro Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. So he has said Almighty as Apurva Vaidya, that he knows everything. And so we will bow down to him. So Ragadi Rogan, and who's knows about Ragadi Rog means both the diseases of mind as well as diseases of body. And Ashesha Kaya Prasrutan Asheshan, or Ashesh means he has not left anything regarding the disease and treatment and the swasthya, healthy life. He knows everything, and he has the capacity to explain everything related to the body and mind. Autsukya moha aratidan jaghana. So he can explain everything related to the body and mind, and so we bow down to Apurva Vaidya, means he is a Apurva. He is not he cannot be second rather than that Almighty. So we bow down to him. Apurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. So he is just a part of Mangalacharan. And he starts Sanhita from this Athata Ayush Kamiyam Adhyayam Vyakhya Syamaha Itihas Mahu Ratrayadayo Maharshayah. So second page, last line also he is mentioned. So Atha and Atha, there is very big commentary regarding Atha and Atha. So why he has used these words, but we will not go in detail of that because it is the part of language, or it is the not related to the Ayurveda. It is related to the what you can say the हमारी जो परंपरा उसके बारे में वो ज्यादा है, इसलिए उसके बारे में हम ज्यादा नहीं जाएंगे. अथात आयुष काम्यम अध्यायम व्याख्यास्यामः. So why he has atha and atha shabda? Because he represents the God, means ओंकार चात शब्दस्य. ये जो दो शब्द है ओंकार और अथ, ये दोनों शब्द ब्रह्मा के मुख से निकले हुए हैं, इसलिए वो that's why they are used whenever we start a new grantha or a new text. So he has used Athata Shabda. And in the first chapter, the chapter's name is Ayush Kami Adhyay. Means whoever wants to live a life Ayush Kamiya, Ayush or life in a better way, he has to learn Ayurveda, Ayush Kamiyam Adhyam, hence Ayush Kamiyam Adhyam. So why we are reading this Samhita? So Ayush Kamiya, what is our Kamana, what is our aim? It is for our life. So we are starting with this Ayush Kamiya Adhyay. So this is the reason behind reading the Ashtanga Hriday or reading Ayurveda. And Itihas Mahu Ratrayadaya Maharshaya means whatever is written in Ashtanga Hriday, it comes from Atreya Adayo Maharshaya. Atreya, who is Atreya? Atreya is one who has taught Samhita to their disciples. Means actually Charak Samhita's first name was Agnivesh Tantra. So it was written by Agnivesh, and later on it was redacted by Charak. So it is called as Charak Samhita. So Atreya was guru of Agnivesh, who taught Agnivesh regarding Ayurveda. We will go in detail afterwards. So, so whatever is written in Ashtanga Hridaya, it is from Atreya, etc. Maharshi. So he has mentioned that nothing is beyond Atreya, etc. Maharshi. So he has also said in this regarding that. So after that, there is mentioned in the that text definition of Ayu and what is Ayurveda. So we'll start directly from page number 3, last shlok. So this is the first stanza of Ayu Kamaya Manena Dharmartha Sukha Sadhanam Ayurvedopodesheshu Videya Paramadaraha. Last shlok of page number 3. Ayu Kamaya Manena Dharmartha Sukha Sadhanam Ayurvedopodesheshu Videya Paramadaraha. So whoever wants to know has to achieve Ayu. And what is the aim of achieving large span of Ayu? It is the Dharma Artha Sukha Sadhanam. So if we want to live a better life in regarding Dharma, Artha and Sukha, if you achieve that, so we want good health. So Ayu Kamaya. So whoever wants to achieve good health, he should um, show utmost respect. Paramadaraha, Videya Paramadaraha, Ayurvedopadesheshu. So whatever is given in Ayurveda, he should respect all these things. So as we all know that we all work for Dharma Artha and we have Chaturveda Purushartha, Dharma Artha, Kama and Moksha. So if anybody, whoever is wants to have a healthy life, for achieving this Dharma Artha, Kama and Moksha, he should know Ayurveda and he should follow Ayurveda and has a great respect regarding about Ayurveda. And then he is stating how Ayurveda is. We have learned Ayurveda in whichever way. So then page number 4 is Brahma Smrutva Yusho Vedam Prajapatim Ajigrahat. So there is tradition in our country that whatever knowledge we have got, they say that it is from any type of God or any type of Almighty, so that it will be more acceptable to the person who are reading it. So he has said that Brahma Smrutva Yusho Vedam Prajapatim Ajigrahat. He has stated Brahma Smrutva means Ayurveda is not invented, it is discovered or it is remembered by Brahma. That means it was in the universe before Brahma also. So Brahma Smrutva, he has remembered Ayurveda. उन्होंने सिर्फ उसका स्मरण किया ब्रह्मा ने और प्रजापति अजिग्रह, फिर उसके बाद उन्होंने प्रजापति को दिया वो जो ज्ञान उनको उन्होंने स्मरण किया वो ज्ञान उन्होंने प्रजापति को दिया. प्रजापति अजिग्रह. Then he Prajapati has given that knowledge to Ashwinav. This Ashwini Kumar, who are the physicians of heaven. Ashwini Kumar. So Ashwinav, Tau Sahasraksham, or Ashwini Kumar. Then he taught Sahasraksha means Indra. So Indra is also has knowledge regarding Ayurveda, and Indra has taught to Atri Putra Dikan Munin, means Atreya and many other Maharshi who were gone to Swarga, means that heaven, to learn Ayurveda from Indra. And then after Atreya Punarvasu etc., they Agniveshadikan Stetu Pruthak Tantrani Tenire. So Atreya had 6 disciples: Agnivesh, Bhel, Jatukarna, Parashar, Harida, and Sharpani. I will provide the names if you want. Then it is not very much important, but you just for the knowledge of sake of knowledge, I am telling the names. So there were 6 disciples to Atreya Punarvasu, and that first was Agnivesh, who was most brilliant among all the 6, and he has written Agnivesh Tantra, which was later on redacted by Acharya Charak, and then it was known as Charak Samhita, what we learn today. So ते अग्निवेशाधिकांस्ते तु पृथक तंत्राणि ते निरे, and later on Vagbhat has written why he has written Ashtanga Hridaya. तेभ्यो अति विप्रकीर्णेभ्यः प्रायः सारतरोच्चयः क्रियते अष्टांग हृदयम नाति संक्षेप विस्तरम. So it is stated that what Brahma taught to Ashwini Kumar or Indra or Atreya Punarvasu, it was about 1 lakh shloks and 12,000 adhyayas. So it is not a human capacity to learn everything. So Agnivesha, these people have explained Ayurveda in shorter, concise form, and that also is beyond the reach of every common person who is living in on the earth. So tebhyo ati viprakirnebhyo, which is very elaborative in nature. Ati viprakirnebhyo praya sara tarochaya. He has concised it, sara form, and kriyate ashtanga hrudayam na ati samkshepa, na ati samkshepa, na ati vistaram. It is not very elaborative, neither it is very short. So it can be understood by everybody, whoever reads it. So it is beginning from Brahma, then Daksha Prajapati, then Ashwini Kumar, then Indra, and then Atreya Punarvasu, then Agnivesh, and afterwards it has got to other disciples of Agnivesh and then Vagbhat. So Ashtanga Hridaya is very concise from, and all, but also it is elaborative also, but not very much elaborative, not very concise. So it can be, it is understandable to the human. And then afterwards, so he has divided it into 8 branches. So Kaya Bala Grahordhanga Shalya Danshtra Jara Vrushan. So Ayurveda is divided into 8 parts, 8 branches. That is, first is Kaya Chikitsa, means internal medicine or medicine, general medicine. Then Bala Chikitsa means pediatrics. Then it is Graha. Graha Chikitsa actually doesn't always mean regarding the what you can say extraterrestrial or like that. It is also mentioned regarding the mental disorders that we can consider regarding Graha Chikitsa. Then Urdhvanga Chikitsa means ENT and ophthalmology, and afterwards Shalya means surgery, Damshtra means toxicology, and and the last 2 branches which are mentioned here, Jara and Vrusha, are nowhere mentioned in any other type of medical discipline. So Jara and Vrusha means Rasayan and Vajikaran. Rasayan means whichever is required for longevity of life, it is called as Jara, and Vrusha means it is helpful for giving birth to a good progeny. So it is called as Vajikaran. So the technique of giving birth to new generation which is more healthy than the previous one, it is called as Vajikaran. And Ashtav Angani. So there are 8 branches. Tasyahu Chikitsa Yeshu Samshrita. And Tasya means Ayurvedasya. Chikitsa Yeshu Samshrita. And Chikitsa is divided in these 8 branches. So there were 8 branches which are mentioned in Ayurveda. Afterwards, there is a description regarding that Ayurveda Avatarana in this textbook. So we'll go to, and after these, he directly enters regarding what is the basic concept of Ayurveda. That is Vayu Pittam Kaphas Cheti Prayo Doshas Samasataha. So the last line of page number 6. वायु पित्तम कफश्चेति त्रयो दोषा समासतः. Samasatah means in short there are three types of dosha: Vayu, Pitta and Kapha. So the names all of you might be knowing previously also. So these are the three types of dosha, and which are the basic what the basic need which is required to learn Ayurveda. If you know regarding those, then you can understand Ayurveda. That's why he has mentioned, and in the first place, the three types of dosha which are required to understand Ayurveda and to understand the treatment and to understand the health of our life. And though they are so much important, vikruta, avikruta deham grantite vartayanti cha. Means if they are in the vitiated form, vikruta, then they grantite deham. So देह का नाश करते हैं. If they are vitiated in some form, they will harm the body, deham, or avikruta vartayanti cha. If they are in normalcy, then they help to maintain the steady state of life or health of our body. So vikruta avikruta deham gnantite vartayanti cha. So vikruta gnanti avikruta vartayanti. So if they are vitiated, then they harm the body, and if they are not vitiated or in normal state, then they act for normalcy of our health. So in afterwards we will explain what are three doshas and what are their vikrut and avikrut forms, what are their karma, means what are their functions, and whatever they do regarding our bodily functions, that we will take into consideration afterwards as we proceed through our lectures. In the first lecture, you have to just know the names, whatever they are explained later on. So these are three types of dosha, and then it has mentioned in the shlok number 7, te vyapinopi runnabhyor adho madhyordva samshrayaha. So although these three doshas are present all over the body, but there are some specific places where they are present in a or you can say the home of these three doshas. So te vyapinopi, vyapino matlab these are present all over the body. Vyapino api hrunnabhyoh adho madhya urdhva samshrayaha. So there is nabhi, below nabhi there is vat, in and besides all the parts of Nabi, there is Pitta, and above Nabi it is Kapha. So these are the places of these three doshas, and they are moving all over the body all the time. Te vyapinopi hunnabhyoh adho madhyordva samshraya. Why these are mentioned like this? So if we are suffering from a dosh regarding a cough, so we have to think about the part which is above the body. If we are having the disease regarding pitta, then we have to focus on the Nabhi Pradesh, and if we are facing the problems regarding Vata, we have to focus below the Nabhi, which is there. So we can target those parts and can do the treatment in a better way. So these are the sthan, we can say, where they are present in a their home is there. जैसा हम बोलते हैं कि हम पूरा दुनिया भर घूमते हैं लेकिन हमारा घर एक ही होता है, कि लास्ट में हम वहां जाकर ही विश्राम करते हैं. उसी तरह से ये दोष जो है पूरे शरीर में फैले हुए हैं, लेकिन उनका घर जो है वो जो स्पेसिफिक जगह दिया है नाभि के नीचे, नाभि के आसपास के रीजन में और नाभि के ऊपर, ऐसे तीन एरिया में वो तीनों दोष रहते हैं. तो लास्ट में वो वहीं जाकर अगर चिकित्सा अगर करनी है तो इन तीन स्थानों की चिकित्सा अगर हम करेंगे तो बाकी सभी शरीर में जो दोष का विकृति हुई है उनको हम जल्दी ठीक कर पाते हैं. तो इसलिए these sides of three doshas are mentioned here. So and also this is mentioned that Vayo Ahoratri Bhuktanam Te Anta Madhyadiga Kramat. The sutra after that, page number 8, Vayo Ahoratri Bhuktanam Te Anta Madhyadiga Kramat. So means they are present in our body or in our lifespan in three ways. So Vayo, Aho, Ratri and Bhukta. These are the four stages where we have to understand the predominance of Vat, predominance of Pitta and predominance of Kapha. So Vayo, Aho, Ratri, Bhuktanam, the Anta Madhya Diga Kramat. So first, in the first, that's or sixth stanza, Vagbhat has mentioned Vayu, Pittam, Kapha, Sheti. So this is the sequence of those. But this sequence is followed in all the stanzas which are coming afterwards. So Te means Vayu, Pitta and Kapha. And Vayo, Aho, Ratri, Bhuktanam. Te Anta, Madhya, Adiga, Kramat. So in Anta place, in last place there is Vata, then Madhya there is Pitta, and Adi there is Kapha. This is the in short. This and the conditions which in which Anta, Madhya and Adi are explained, that are Vaya. So in the last stage of Vaya means age, means in old age there is Vat predominance. In the middle of age, that means in the young or from you can say 30 to 60, 50, 60, it is Pitta predominant condition, and before that Adi there is Kapha predominant. So so children are up to 10 to 12 years, Kapha is predominant in our body. After that, when young people are there, Pitta is predominant in their body. And in the last stage of our life, that is old age, Vata is predominant in our body. Then second is Aho. Aho means day time, and Ratri means night time. So this is in the same way, during the daytime, the last time of day means during the evening, Vat is predominant. Then in the in the middle span of our the day, that means from 10 to 2 or 3 or 4, it is Pitta predominant part, and in the morning period from uh, up to 10 or 10 a.m. you can say it is Kapha predominant part. So and in the same way during the night, in the last stage of night means during before sunrise or before Brahma Muhurta, um, before that 1.5 hour before sunrise, there is Vata predominant. Then in the middle of night, there is Pitta predominance, and in the starting of night, there is Kapha predominant part. And Bhukta means after eating, there in the last stage of digestion, Vata is predominant. In the middle part of the digestion, Pitta is predominant, and in the starting of digestion, there is Kapha predominant. So just after we complete the intake of food, there is Kapha predominant, and Kapha is responsible for sleep also. So after having heavy food, we feel like slightly sleepy or like that. That's why there is written that after taking food, immediately after taking food, Kapha is predominant. After 1 or 2 hours, there is Pitta predominant, and in the last stage of digestion, there is Vata predominance. So in this way, you can understand. Why it is important, that will be explained afterwards. But in short, I am saying that if you have to treat Kapha predominant disorders, you have to give the treatment just after taking food, or in the starting of day, or in the starting of night. So whenever there is Kapha predominant call, you have to give the medicines. If you are if you have to treat Vata predominant disorders, you have to give uh, medicines in the last stage of digestion, or before taking second meal, or during the last of day. In the same way, pitta predominant disorders are there, then you have to give the medicine during the after 1 or 2 hours of the taking food. So it is important regarding treatment. So they have given this vayo horatri bhuktanam te anta madhyadiga krama, so that you can manage your treatment or your chikitsa in that way. So it is important in the context of treatment. Then after that, there is mentioned of Agni, which is the utmost important in our body to maintain our health. Tair bhaved vishamas tikshno mandas chagani samay samaha. Taihi means doshai, उन दोषों से. Taihi is bahuvachan of sah. So taihi, so these three doshas are responsible for the three types of Agni. Tair bhaved vishamas tikshno mandas chagni samay samaha. So the sequence is the same. वायु पित्त एंड कफ तैहि भवेत. उनसे क्या होता है तो विषमः. So first at the first place there is Vat. So Vishamagni is because of Vata, Tikshnagni is due to Pitta, and Mandagni is due to Kapha. In this first lecture, we just have to know to the names of these Agni, Dosha, Mahabhut, etc. And the explanation of these will be given in the latter lectures. So just have to remember this. Taihi bhavet vishamah tikshno mandascha agnihi. So because of Vat, there is Vishamagni. Because of Pitta, there is Tikshnagni. And because of Kapha, there is Mandagni. And Samaihi Samaha means if all the three doshas are in the equilibrium state, then there is Samagni, which we call it is the best form of Agni. So Samagni. So if they are in the normal state, then they are it is called as Samagni. Samaihi Samaha. If they are in sama form, means equilibrium state, then Samagni. And then Koshtha Kruro Mrudur Madhyo Madhya Syattai Samairapi. Means Koshtha means the bowels which we are defecating every day morning or there sometimes 2 or 3 times in a day. So Koshtha Kruro Mruduhu Madhyo Madhya Syattai Samairapi. Means if there is Vata predominance, then there is Kura Koshtha. So there is difficulty in defecation or bowels. Then due to Pitta, it is Mrudu Koshtha. Means it is having he has loose motion. This Pitta is predominant. And Madhya means if Kapha is predominant, then Madhya. It is neither very loose motion, neither very hard. It is in normal state. And Madhya Syattai Samairapi. And if all the doshas are in equilibrium, then these are in Samavastha or Madhya Koshtha. So regarding the Mrudu Koshtha, there is mentioned in Charak Samhita the sab kshirenapi virichate. If anybody is taking glass of milk in the night and he has loose motions in the second day morning, then we can say that he has Mrudu Koshtha. He can be purgated by taking milk also. So it is called as Mrudu Koshtha. And if he is not able to defecate after taking strong purgatives also, so then he is called as Krura Koshtha. And if he is having purgation due to in normal state, he is if he wakes up in the morning and has good motions in the morning, then it may be said that it is Madhya Koshtha. So in this way, we can differentiate all the three types of Koshtha. And afterwards, there comes the state of Prakruti, which is very important while treating a patient or while considering the state of every individual in the universe. So Deha Prakruti, body constitution. So Shukrarthavasther Janmadau Vishenevo Vishakrimehe Taischa Tisra Prakrutayo Heen Madhya Uttamaha Pruthak. So when there is a at the time of childbirth, Shukratavasthaihi Janmadau. In the starting of Janma, Shukratavasthai. Shukra and Artav is sperm and ovum. So during the conjugation of sperm and ovum, so and in the starting of life, Janmadau, विषेण विषेण इव विषक्रिमेः. So in the type when जिस तरह से मतलब जो कृमि होता है, मतलब कीड़ा होता है जिसमें विष उसमें रहता है, लेकिन वो जो विष है वो उसको नहीं मारता है, तो उसके साथ वो जिंदा जब होता है तभी उसके साथ में विष की उत्पत्ति होती है। तो उसी तरह से शुक्र और आर्तव जब एक साथ मिलते हैं उसी समय प्रकृति जो है वो बनती है कि या तो वात प्रिडोमिनेंट रहेगा, अदरवाइज पित्त प्रिडोमिनेंट और कफ प्रिडोमिनेंट. तो तैहि च तिस्रः प्रकृतयो. The three types of prakriti are there, which are Hina, Madhya and Uttam. So Hina, what is Hina, what is Madhya and what is Uttam, it is explained in the latter verse. So it is from starting of the life. So Prakriti is decided whenever there is conjugation of sperm and ovum at the time of whenever there is you can say pregnancy is conceived at that time in only the prakriti of a child or a person is decided at that time only. So it is of three types: Hina, Madhya and Uttama. And after that, Samadhatu Samastasu Sreshtha Nindya Didoshajaha. So then next slok is Samadhatu Samastasu Sreshtha Nindya Dvidoshajaha. If all the three doshas are in equilibrium, it is Sama Prakriti, and if any one dosha is predominant, it will be called as Hina, and if two doshas are there predominant, then it is Nindya. It is not very इसको बहुत ज्यादा प्रेज नहीं किया है, तो सबसे दो द्विदोष प्रकृति है तो उसको हम बोलते हैं कि वो निंद्य है. सो वात प्रकृति जो है वो हीन है, पित्त प्रकृति इट इज मॉडरेट मींस मध्यम, एंड कफ प्रकृति इज उत्तम. And actually whenever these three doshas are in equilibrium, it is the best, but it is very rare that all the three doshas are in equilibrium in the during the time of pregnancy conceived. So they have mentioned if vata is predominant in prakriti, it is hina prakriti, because the vata predominant person is getting diseases very frequently. Pitta prakriti has some moderate type of diseases, and if kapha prakriti is there, he is not getting diseased very frequently. So it is uttama. So there are three types of prakriti. If vat is predominant, it is hina. If pitta is predominant, it is madhyama, and if kapha is predominant, it is uttama. So it is also important in the whenever we choose the treatment of a person. And after that, he comes to the types of dosha and its actions. So up to this, if there is any confusion regarding whatever is we are discussing right now, so you can ask. Otherwise, we will move on to the functions and actions of dosha. It requires too much of time. If anybody has to ask anything, you can.
Things are very much clear. The prakriti thing which we were discussing, wanted to be more clear about. Is there any combination of the two prakritis also?
Actually, combination of dosha is there, not combination of prakriti. So dosha are combined. Sometimes there are two doshas are in predominant, and sometimes one dosha is more predominant than other. Then it is actually.
One second. Asha ma'am, can you mute yourself? Yes, now you can go ahead, sir.
हाँ. तो इसमें दो प्रकार की प्रकृति एक साथ में नहीं रह सकती, दो प्रकार के दोष एक साथ में रह सकते हैं. कि कभी वात और पित्त दोनों प्रिडोमिनेंट है तो वो वात पित्त प्रकृति है, या फिर पित्त और कफ प्रिडोमिनेंट है तो पित्त कफश प्रकृति है. उसमें भी थोड़ा तरतम भाव रहता है, मतलब कभी वात और पित्त दोनों प्रिडोमिनेंट है लेकिन उसमें भी थोड़ा वात प्रिडोमिनेंट ज्यादा है, पित्त का डोमिनेंस कम है, तो फिर वो वात प्रिडोमिनेंट पित्त इस तरह से प्रकृति रहती है। फिर उसमें बहुत सारी अलग अलग ये रहेंगी, दो प्रकृति एक साथ में नहीं रह सकती, प्रकृति में दोषों का प्रिडोमिनेंस रह सकता है।
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
हाँ। So can we move on?
So no, one question was
हाँ.
that as you mentioned, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha have their own places. So there is no dosh in the head, is it? Head is free of doshas.
नहीं, no,
Head,
it is
brain,
not like that.
No.
Actually, it is actually हाँ, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम थोड़ा सा ये समझ लेंगे कि जैसे मैंने बोला ते व्यापिनो अपि रुन्नाभ्यो हो, मीन्स इफ यू वांट टू ट्रीट द डिसीज then you have to concentrate on that particular position, means above nabi, it is head also above nabi also, no, there मतलब सर भी उसके ऊपर ही है नाभि के, तो वो कफ का ही स्थान है, और नाभि के नीचे का जो भी पोर्शन है वो पूरा वात का स्थान है, तो दोनों जो एक्सट्रीमिटीज है वो वात का ही स्थान है। और ये तो पहले ही मेंशन है कि ये व्यापिनो अपि, मतलब दे आर all over the body, they are present all over the body. However, if you want to treat the kapha predominant disease, then you have to concentrate on the portion which is above the umbilicus, above the nabi. If you want to treat the disease which is vata predominant, you have to focus on the portion which is below nabi. And if you want to treat the pitta predominant disorder, then you have to concentrate on the in the middle part of the body. So to understand this and for the treatment purpose, it is given that it is adho madhyurga samshrayah. It is not like that the head doesn't contain any type of dosh. It is not like that. I hope I have cleared the thing. So shall we move on? So then the functions of the three doshas. So tatra ruksho laghu shita kharas sukshmas chalo nilaha. So it is little bit very difficult to understand. Tatra ruksho laghu shita kharas sukshmas chalo nilaha. Pittam sasneha tikshnoshnam laghu visram saram dravam snigdha shito gurur mandah shlakshno vrutsna stirah kapha. So before going to this, we must understand this, that the whole Ashtanga Hridaya or whole Ayurveda is written in the form of Hetu, Linga and Aushad, means the reason of disease, then Linga means symptoms of disease, and last thing is the medicine for the disease or the normal state of individual. So everything and each and everything in the Ashtanga Hridaya is written in the form of either Hetu, either Linga or Aushad, means either it is a nidan of, means reason of a disease, or it is a symptom of a disease, or it is treatment for a disease. So we should know this in the first place, that जो कुछ भी यहाँ पे लिखा है या तो तीन टाइप में उसको डिवाइड किया जा सकता है, उसी प्रकार से वो लिखा है। तो ये वात के जब हम गुण के बारे में देखेंगे, तत्र रुक्षो लघु शीत, दीज आर द प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ वात. It is ruksha in nature. Then laghu means it is lightweight. Ruksha means it is a dry form. So whenever there is dryness in the body, we have to consider the that vat is increased in the body. Whenever there is lightness in the body, we should consider the vat is increased. Then shita, whenever there is shita gun, means coldness in the body, we may consider vat. Then khara means it is whenever there are roughness in the body, that means when our palms or palms of the feet also, if they are rough in nature, then we will consider that Vat is increased in the body. Then if the body skin is rough in nature, then we consider that Vat is increased in the body. Then Sukshma means it has the capacity to enter the micro channels of the body. So Sukshma, it is very minute. And Chala, and Chala means it has speed. Uh, and there is one very interesting shlok in Charak Samhita, Pittam Panguhu, Kafam Panguhu, Pangavo Maladhatavaha, Vayuna Yatra Niyante, Tatra Gachanti Meghavat. Means Kaf and Pitta don't have their own speed or their own gati. If Vat is there, then it is the property of Vat that it moves Pitta and Kapha from their respective places to all over the body. So Pittam Panguhu, Kafam Panguhu, Pangavo Maladhatava. They have Kapha and Pangu and Kapha and Pitta and all the dhatus in the body. They don't have capacity to move from one place to other. So Vat is having Chala gun. Chala means um, mobility. It is mobile in phase. So other two dosh or other dhatus don't have their own mobility. So Vat is responsible for all the movements in the body. Means walking and whatever functions we do in the body is because of Vat. We should consider this. So these are the hence it is very important. Vat is very much important that it functions in the proper way. So tatra ruksho lagu shitah kharas sukshmas chalo nilaha. So it is chala in form. It is mobile, and other two doshas are not mobile. Only kapha is Vat is mobile. Then pittam sa sneha. It has a small quantity of sneha means unctuousness we can call it. तो स्निग्ध जो गुण है वो थोड़ा फॉर्म में पित्त में रहता है. सस्नेह तीक्ष्ण, it can penetrate through it is sharp, it is cutting, means division of various food material and digestion. It is because of tikshna gun. And ushna, it is hot in nature. It is also lagu, but not as lagu as vat. Visram, it has a different type of smell. Sara means it also flows like water. And Sara and Drava. Drava means fluid. It is fluid and hence it flows all over the body. And this we should understand between Chala and Sara. So Chala has its own capacity to move all over, but Sara means it has only if there is just like water, जैसे पानी ऊंचाई से नीचे तक जाता है, इस तरह से अगर वहां पर एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाना है तो वो जा सकता है ड्यू टू ग्रेविटी, बट इट डजंट हैव इट्स ओन मोबिलिटी. वो जो है अपने आप से नहीं बह सकता. अगर जगह नहीं है वहां पर तो एक ही जगह पर वो पड़ा रहेगा. लेकिन अगर जगह है, मतलब एक जगह ऊपर है दूसरी जगह नीचे है, तो दूसरे जगह से एक जगह पर जा सकता है. लेकिन ये जरूरी है. लेकिन बात में ये है कि चल गुण है तो अपने आप से वो मूव कर सकता है. सो इट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन चल एंड सर. सो यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड. सो देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स कफ स्निग्ध शीतो गुरुर्मंदः श्लक्ष्णो मृत्स्न स्थिरः कफः. So it is snigdha. Most unctus is the kapha. Then shita, it is cold in nature. Guru, it is heavy. So if there is kapha predominant, so we feel heaviness in our body. Mandha, so it is also important if we feel very जैसे हम बहुत सुस्त लगते हैं तो वो कफ का प्रिडोमिनेंस है, तो वो सुस्त में जैसे मंद जिसको बोलते हैं कि वेरी धीरे धीरे काम करता है, तो स्लोली एक्टिंग, तो इट इज कॉल्ड एज मंद. देन श्लक्षण. श्लक्षण मीन्स जैसे हम कह सकते हैं कि जैसा एक कोई मणि है, मतलब जैसा एकदम स्मूथ रहता है ऊपर से, स्मूथनेस, सो इट इज कॉल्ड एज श्लक्षण. सो इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ कफ. एंड मृत्स्न. Mrusna is because shining is because of that kapha. And sthira, if we want to steady our body, we have to get steadiness in the body, then kapha is very much important. So shlakshno mrusna sthira kapha. So these are the basic properties of these three doshas. So tatra ruksho laghu shitha khara sukshma chalo nidah pittam sasneha tikshnoshram laghu visram saram dravam and snigdha shito gurul mandha shlakshno mrutsna sthira prabha. These are the basic properties of these three doshas, and all the properties, all the functions which are going on all over the body are because of these three doshas and these properties of these dosha. So whenever there is vitiation in these type of properties, we can use other type of properties that we will go afterwards. So sansargha sannipatascha tadvitrikshaya kopatah. And when these two types of dosha are involved, then it is called as sansarga. And whenever all the three doshas are involved, it is called as sannipat. So these two terms are important. One is sansarga and other is sannipat. In sansarga means whenever two doshas are involved, it is called as sansarga. And whenever all the three doshas are involved, it is called as sannipata. Tad dvitrikshaya kopatah. If two are vitiated, it is called as samsarga, and all the three are vitiated, then it is called as sannipat. So these two words are also important. So in the first adhyay, there is only you have to remember all the things, and the explanation of all the things will be coming afterwards. So I am repeating this every time. अभी पहले अध्याय में हमें सिर्फ जो टर्म्स है उन्हीं को केवल नाम थोड़ा ध्यान में रखना है कि ये बाद में आने वाले हैं सभी वो, और उसको हम बाद में एक्सप्लेन करने वाले हैं. तो ये सब सिर्फ शब्द आपको ध्यान में रखना है कि वात पित्त कफ है, फिर वयो होरात्रि भुक्तानाम जो है वो है, फिर संसर्ग क्या है, सन्निपात क्या है, प्रकृति क्या है, ये सभी जो है अभी केवल नाम आपको ध्यान में रखना है, उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन जो है वो बाद में आएगा.
सर ये
हाँ.
वात इज द सेम एज वायु इन प्राणा पान समान जो योग में है. इज इट रिलेटेड टू वात?
Yes, yes. We will go come to that afterwards. Whenever there is a dosha bhedi adhyay, we are going to that. The types of vata, types of pitta, and types of kapha. It is the similar type in what is mentioned in yoga. But the functions which are mentioned in Ayurveda are slightly different, which are mentioned that in yoga. So प्राण से क्या होगा, उदान से क्या होगा, उसके अलग अलग फंक्शन भी मेंशन किए हुए हैं. वो हो सकता है थोड़ा सा अलग आपको लग सकता है, जैसे योग में दिया हुआ है. योग में इनका क्या क्या फंक्शन है उतना मुझे डिटेल में नहीं पता, लेकिन जो आयुर्वेद में जो उनका फंक्शन दिया हुआ है, व्हाट इज मेंशन्ड इन आयुर्वेद, वी विल गो इन ड्यू कोर्स ऑफ आवर क्लासेस. हाँ, अभी आफ्टर दैट देर आर 7 types of dusha or dhatu. The dhatu is not page number 11. There are mentioned 7 types of dhatu. So the dhatu word here doesn't mean metals. These are the tissues, types of tissues which are present in the body. But exactly टिश्यू भी कहना उसको सही नहीं है कि शरीर किस चीज से बना है, तो वो धातुओं से बना है. तो व्हाट इज धातु? इट इज विच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर होल्डिंग द बॉडी. धातवो देह धारणा. तो जिससे देह का धारण होता है उनको धातु कहते हैं. तो रस अश्रु मांस मेदोस्थि मज्ज शुक्राणि धातवः. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ so these are also called as dusha. So these are called as dhatu also, and these are called as dusha also, because dosha means which have capacity to vitiate others. It is called as dosha. Dushayanti doshaha. Those can जिसको दूषित दूसरों को कर सकते हैं उसको हम बोलेंगे दोष, और जो खुद दूषित होते हैं उनको कहते हैं दुष्य. So these are vitiated because of dosha. That's why they are called as dusha. So because if vat is increased, there is some vitiate. There are some difficulty in rasa dhatu, then asru dhatu, then mans dhatu. There are 7 types of dhatu. First is rasa. Second is Asruk or Rakta. Rakta has other name as Asruk. Asruk. Then Mansa. Then is Meda. Then Asthi. Afterwards Majja. And last is Shukra. These are the 7 types of dhatu. So first is Rasa. It is given in the translation plasma, blood, muscle tissue, fatty tissue, bony tissue, bone marrow, and semen, reproductive elements. So these are just for understanding. These are not the exact translation of these words. We must keep in our mind. जो ट्रांसलेशन दिया हुआ है वो एग्जैक्ट है ऐसा हमको मानकर नहीं चलना चाहिए, क्योंकि उसका अलग मीनिंग भी है. नहीं तो फिर हमारे मन में वो बैठेगा कि प्लाज्मा मतलब ब्लड रस है, ब्लड मीन्स रक्त है. ऐसा अगर दिमाग में बैठ गया तो फिर वो थोड़ा सा आगे का जो है वो समझने में थोड़ा मुश्किल हो सकता है. तो इट इज नॉट ट्रांसलेशन, इट इज जस्ट फॉर थोड़ा सा उसका आइडिया आए इसलिए वो बताया है कि प्लाज्मा है, ब्लड है, मसल है. वो जो है ना थोड़ा उसको एकदम एग्जैक्ट ट्रांसलेशन ये आपको नहीं समझना चाहिए, बिकॉज यू ऑल नो दैट द एग्जैक्ट ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ संस्कृत वर्ड इज नॉट पॉसिबल एवरी टाइम. So whatever is mentioned, there are only for to lead to you something regarding something. So just you have to remember this. So rasa, asrum, mausa. Asrum means rakta. Then mausa, medo, asthi, majja, shukra, and these are the 7 types of dhatu, and these are also called as dushya. And mala, 3 types of mala are there: mutra, shakrut, and sveda. Actually, 3 types of mala are there, and there are many more types of waste materials which are in the body. That also we will explain afterwards. And 3 important malas are mutra. Shakrut means stool, and sved means sweating. So these are the 3 main types of mal. And adayo means other than these, there are many types of waste products in the body. These will be explained afterwards, but 3 are main: mutra, shakrut, and sved. Shakrut means the fecal matter, it is called as shakrut, and sweat is called as sveda. And this page number 13, it is very important to understand why we treat in this way in Ayurveda. Vruddhi samanai sarvesham viparita viparayah. It is very basic concept in Ayurveda. It is called as सामान्य विशेष सिद्धांत. सामान्य and विशेष. वृद्धि समानैः सर्वेषां विपरीतैः विपर्ययः means first we have described the gone through the properties of Vata, properties of Pitta, and properties of Kapha. So these are increased and decreased because of similar types of properties of material or substance which we intake in the body. Vruddhi samanaihi sarvesham. All the 3 dhatus, all the 3 doshas are increased by the similar type of food. Means if we eat the food which is Vata predominant, they are responsible to increase Vata. If we eat food which is Pitta predominant, it will be responsible for increasing Pitta. It is Vruddhi means. And if we intake the food which is Kapha predominant, it will increase Kapha. So Vruddhi samanaihi sarvesham. All the 3 doshas are increased because of the similar type of food or similar type of activity, which will be explained afterwards. So and viparitaihi viparyayah. If we take food in the opposite type of properties as that of dosha, then it will decrease the dosh. Means if we take the food which is opposite to Vata, then it will reduce Vata. If we take food which is opposite as that of the properties of Pitta, then it will reduce Pitta. And if we take food which is opposite as that of Kapha, it will reduce Kapha. So it is very basic concept in Ayurveda. It is called as Samanya Vishesh Siddhanta. So Samanya and Vishesh. Vishesh means the opposite. Viparitaihi viparayah. अभी हमें हमारे मन में ये भी आएगा कि फिर अगर वात के अपोजिट वाले गुण अगर देखेंगे तो वो कफ के हैं, except the शीत गुण, other गुण are of Vata are opposite of Kapha. So if we eat the food which is opposite to the properties of Vata, will it increase Kapha? So we can say that वो कफ को बढ़ाएगा। जब वात का क्षय होगा उस टाइम में कफ बढ़ेगा ही, और जो पित्त को कम करने वाला या फिर बढ़ाने वाला अगर आहार सेवन करेंगे तो उससे बाकी भी दोषों में कुछ असर होगा क्या, तो वो भी होगा। सो इट इज गोइंग ऑन एवरी टाइम इन द बॉडी। ऐसा नहीं है कि वात को बढ़ाने वाला आहार करेंगे तो सिर्फ वात ही बढ़ेगा, तो उसके समान गुण वाले जो भी प्रॉपर्टीज हैं वो भी बढ़ेंगे, और वात को कम करने वाला आहार सेवन करेंगे तो उसके अपोजिट वाले गुण जो भी हैं तो वो बढ़ेंगे। मतलब इफ वी टेक फूड विच इज हैविंग स्निग्ध गुण, स्थिर गुण, so that will decrease Vata, but at the same time it will increase Kapha also. So it is both ways. It is not like that if we take the Vata decreasing food then it will have no effect on Kapha or Pitta. It will definitely have the effect on Pitta and Kapha also. But therefore we have to consider whenever we intake food, we have to consider what will be the effect of that particular food on kapha or a particular food on pitta and the food on vata also. So all the three doshas should be taken into consideration when we think of the intake of food or intake of medicine or doing any exercise or any activity henceforth. So तीनों को हमें ध्यान में रखकर ही उसका यूज करना जरूरी रहता है। तो दीज आर नॉट इंडिपेंडेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर। तो दोनों मतलब उनके कार्य अलग एक दूसरे से अलग अलग है, लेकिन एक बढ़ेगा तो दूसरा कम होगा, दूसरा कम होगा तो तीसरा बढ़ेगा, ये तो होगा ही। तो इसलिए हम जब आहार या फिर जो भी हम एक्टिविटी करेंगे उस समय हमको दोनों में बैलेंस रख के ही करना होगा कि वात को कम करना है इसलिए कफ को बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ा दिया, ऐसा भी करके नहीं चलेगा। या फिर कफ को कम करना है तो वात को बढ़ाने वाला आहार बहुत सेवन किया तो वो भी नहीं चलेगा। तो हमें सभी को बैलेंस करके हमको आहार या औषध का सेवन करना होता है। बस इतना ही हमें हमारे लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि समान गुणों से समान की वृद्धि होती है, वृद्धि ही समान ही सर्वेशाम। समान आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर वृद्धि एंड विपरीत इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर ह्रास और क्षय। सो दिस शुड बी ऑल वी शुड बी रिमेंबर। सो इसमें कुछ कंफ्यूजन है, वृद्धि समान ही सर्वेशाम। हाँ तो ठीक है, तो यू कैन गो फर्दर ऑल्सो। रसः स्वाद्वं लवण तिक्तोषण कषायकाः षड्द्रव्यम् आश्रितास्ते च यथा पूर्वं बलावहाः। So there are 6 type of tests. Test is called as rasa in Ayurveda. Rasa has different meanings in different contexts in Ayurveda, but here just before this we have seen सप्तदुष्यः, जो हमने देखा रसासृंग मौसमेदोस्ति मध्य शुक्राणि धातवः. It also contains rasa, but it is different than what is mentioned here. So here also rasa is, the word rasa has come here also, and before that the word rasa has come in sapta dhatu also. So these two are also different. So this rasa is regarding taste of food. So there are 6 type of taste. Swadu means madhur or sweet. Amla means sour. Then lavan means salty. Then tikta means bitter. Ushana or katu. Ushana is the synonym of katu. It is called as pungent. And kashaya, it is called as astringent. Here the rasaha swadvam lavana tiktoshana kashayakaha shad dravyam ashritastecha. These are ashrita, they reside in dravya. Dravya means, does not mean here money. Dravya here means the everything in this universe. मतलब जो भी कुछ है सभी द्रव्य की कैटेगरी में आता है। तो द्रव्य क्या है उसके बारे में हम आगे देखेंगे कि यहाँ पर द्रव्य का मीनिंग है कि जो कुछ भी यहाँ इस दुनिया में है सभी चीज द्रव्य है, ये हमको समझ लेना है। everything which is present in the universe is called as dravya. So dravyam ashritaha. So dravya, these 6 tests reside in dravya, and yatha purvam balavaha, and the previous rasas are more have bring about more strength than the rasas which are counted afterwards. Means most strength producing rasa is sadhu, after that amla, after that lavan, and least uh, the rasa which produces least strength, it is kashaya. So yatha purvam balavaha, मतलब these are in a decreasing manner. मतलब strength बढ़ानी है तो एक क्रम से इन रसों का सेवन हम कर सकते हैं कि सबसे कम बल को बढ़ाने वाला, मतलब स्ट्रेंथ को बढ़ाने वाला है कषाय, उसके बाद उससे ज्यादा बढ़ेगा तो वो है कटु, उसके बाद है तिक्त, उसके बाद है लवण, उसके बाद है अम्ल, उसके बाद है स्वादु। तो सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथ को बढ़ाने वाला जो रस है, the rus which is most increasing strength, it is swadu, and it is in a decreasing manner. Okay, we should take into consideration this. यथा पूर्वम बलावहा, पूर्व के जो रस हैं वो सभी बल को बढ़ाने वाले हैं। बलावहा, बलावहा means that which produce bal or strength, it is previous are increasing, responsible for increasing the bal. Or and then Tatradya Marutam Granthi. These are the stanza which is before it is Rasaha Swadvamla Lavana Tiktoshana Kashayakaha. So this sequence also we should remember. So after the stanzas which come after that, these are with reference to this previous stanza. So Rasaha Swadvamla Lavana Tiktoshana Kashayakaha. तो उसी के बारे में ये सीक्वेंस जो है साधु अम्ल लवण तिक्त कटु और कषाय, ये सीक्वेंस आप थोड़ा आपको ध्यान में रखना पड़ेगा। इसी सीक्वेंस से फिर बाद में एक्सप्लेनेशन हुआ है। सो तत्राद्या मारुतम ग्रंथि त्रयः, तो द फर्स्ट 3 रसास मीन फर्स्ट 3 टेस्ट मारुतम ग्रंथि, these are responsible to reduce वात। ग्रंथि मीन्स हर बार उसको नष्ट कर देगा ऐसा नहीं, नष्ट का मतलब होता है कम करना, रिड्यूस वात। तो तत्राद्या मारुतम घंटी मीन्स फर्स्ट 3, तत्राद्या मारुतम घंटी त्रयः। तो जो पहले 3 है, तो पहले 3 कौन से हैं? मधुर, अम्ल और लवण। दिस 3 आर फर्स्ट 3 रसास। दिस मारुतम घंटी, दिस डिक्रीज द मारुत, मारुत मीन्स वात। देन त्रयः तिक्तादयः कफम, then afterwards the 3 mentioned tikta, katu and kashay, these are responsible for reducing kapha. Then tikta, ushana and kashay, they will reduce kapha, and kashaya, tikta, madhuraha, pittam. So granthi is common to all the 3. In tatradya marutam granthi trayah, trayah tiktadayah kafam granthi. So granthi is common to all. कषाय तिक्त मधुराहा पित्तम ग्रंथि। तो इस तरह से उनको समझना है कि ग्रंथि जो है वो तीनों को लगा है। तो कषाय तिक्त मधुर ये जो 3 रस हैं वो पित्त का शमन करते हैं, पित्त को कम करते हैं। और पित्तम अन्य तो कुर्वते, और उसी के अपोजिट हमें समझना है। इसका मतलब ये है, समझना क्या समझना है उसके अपोजिट? अन्य तो मतलब अन्य का यहाँ मीनिंग है अपोजिट काम करना, works opposite to the properties. Means if we take first 3 rasa, madhur, amla and lavan, they will increase what? Increase pitta. Then the last 3 tikta, ushana, kashay, they will increase kapha. Increase vata. And the anya, other than this, anya means other than this, वो दूसरा काम करते हैं। कषाय, तिक्त और मधुर को छोड़ के बाकी जो 3 रस हैं तो वो पित्त को बढ़ाने का काम करेंगे। तो थोड़ा सा इसको आपको समझना होगा कि अन्य तो कुर्वते, मतलब ये जो 3 रस दिए हैं उनको छोड़ के बाकी जो रस हैं वो उन दोषों को बढ़ाएंगे, ऐसा है। तो पहला दिया है कि तत्राद्या मारुतम ग्रंथि। सो फर्स्ट 3 रसास आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू रिड्यूस वात। इट मीन्स दैट the rasas which are not mentioned, those will increase what? So तत्राद्या जो है वो will, those will decrease what? Means madhur, amla and lavan will decrease what? That means opposite than this which are not mentioned here, means tikta, ushana and kashaya, they will increase what? And traya tiktadaya kafam granthi means tikta, ushana and kashaya will decrease the cough. That means the rasas which are not mentioned here will increase kapha. Means madhur, amla and lavan will increase vat. And kashaya tikta madhuraha pittam granthi. Kashaya tikta and madhur will reduce pitta. That means the rasas not which are not mentioned here. That means katu, amla and lavan, ushana, amla and lavan will increase pitta. So अन्य तो कुर्वते. So these are the rasas which are mentioned will reduce the dosh and which are not mentioned will increase the dosh. ठीक है, तो इसमें कोई कंफ्यूजन तो अभी शायद नहीं रहना चाहिए. मतलब जो यहाँ पर बताए हैं वो क्षय करने का काम करते हैं, जो यहाँ पर नहीं बताए हैं वो पर्टिकुलर दोष को बढ़ाने का काम करेंगे. आई थिंक आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड.
But sir, which type of food belongs to which taste, ये कहीं पे दिया हुआ है आगे जाके, यानी फॉर एग्जाम्पल मिर्च will be कटु और तिक्त.
हाँ, सो हाँ, एक इम्पोर्टेंट चीज हमें ये भी थोड़ा एक कंफ्यूजन रहता है, वो मुझे अच्छा आपने पूछा कि कटु से हम जो है ना कड़वा ऐसा हम मीनिंग लेते हैं. ठीक है, जनरली कटु अनुभव आया, इसका मतलब है कि कड़वा हमें जो है ना ऐसा हमको लगता है, लेकिन एक्चुअली संस्कृत जो कटु वर्ड है दैट मीन्स पंजेंट. जो तीखा जिसको हम बोलते हैं उसको कटु बोलते हैं, और जो तिक्त है दैट मीन्स इट इज बिटर. सो यू शुड नो दिस. सो कटु मीन्स पंजेंट, और तीखा अगर जो है उसको हम कटु बोलेंगे, और दैट विच इज बिटर इट इज कॉल्ड एज तिक्त. तो कभी कभी कंफ्यूजन रहता है कि कटु और तिक्त में कंफ्यूजन हो सकता है. तो मिर्च जो है वो कटु रस की है, तो इट इज कटु डजंट मीन बिटर, कटु मीन्स पंजेंट. ये थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन है, कंफ्यूजिंग आपको लग सकता है, क्योंकि बोली भाषा में हम जो बोलते हैं हिंदी में, तो कटु अनुभव का मतलब है बिटर एक्सपीरियंस, बट इट कटु इज नॉट बिटर, कटु इज पंजेंट. so you should know this. तो बोलचाल की भाषा में जो हम वर्ड यूज करते हैं इसमें बहुत कंफ्यूजन होता है कि कटु, जब हम फर्स्ट ईयर में जब पढ़ने के लिए आए थे तो हमको भी ऐसा लगा था ये तो कुछ उल्टा ही लग रहा है. तो इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. So exact meaning of katu is pungent and the meaning of tikta is bitter. So you should know this. Remember this.
Will be
while
what?
we
चाय
tea is kashay. Tea is kashay.
It is better that we make a tabular form and write it down right from start, so that we have a proper understanding of all the things. Otherwise, by the time we go to the next topic, we will forget the first one.
No, actually, what is that is there is no problem regarding madhur, amla, lavan and kashay. Only problem is regarding tikta and katu, because in day-to-day practice we use katu for bitter. Katu adhubhav means bitter experience. If we call bitter experience, then we would call as katu. But actually, in Sanskrit language, meaning of katu is pungent rather than bitter. So these two are confusing. Otherwise, it is okay. I think so. ठीक है, हमारे पास कितना टाइम है?
10:15 तक का टाइम है, तो अपने 2 मिनट ओवर हो गए
अभी इसके बाद. हाँ ठीक है
है ना. तो अभी फिर अभी 15 मिनट का ब्रेक रहेगा, और फिर योग सूत्र रहेगा, और फिर